Hey everyone, this is quite possibly my greatest game I've ever played, bro. I beat a Grandmaster in Bullet. Now, Bullet is like less, oh my god, you beat a Grandmaster? It's still Bullet, and I still played wonderfully, and we're still gonna analyze every single bit of it, because it's a nice game at the end of the day. I played an opening I never play and I don't know anything about, and still beat a Grandmaster. The thing is, we have no idea who this Grandmaster is, by the way. This is an anonymous account. It's a GM account, so we know that they're Grandmaster. They have the ratings and everything. They have the title, but it's an anonymous account, so we have no clue. Okay, I was the black pieces too. I played a 91.1 accuracy, equivalent to a 3,000 rated player on chess.com. They gave me this statistic. Crazy. No blunders against the GM. Okay, here was the game. E4 was played by my opponent. E6. I know, I play the French since when, but now D4 and I play C5, and this converts to a Sicilian Taimanov, which is really crazy. In which, you know, it's like if you play E4, C5, and then like knight F3, E6, and then D4 type of beat. So this is what happened, C5, and now D5 was played, and now this French converts into a Sicilian, converts into a type of Benoni. Because now after takes d6, this is looking like a type of Benoni structure found in d4 position. So d4, knight f6, c4, and then c5, and then e6, ooh, and then e6 here. Knight c3, we take, and d6. You know, the same kind of pattern. So anyway, my opponent, this is not a known opening. Nobody plays this. So my opponent is probably startled, played c4, knight f6. I just developed my pieces, put a very nice bishop, fianchetto style, on this long diagonal. You'll see in the future, this bishop will do some good damage. G3 is played. This is somehow a mistake. I have no clue why. Maybe just white is supposed to play h3 to prevent bishop g4 things, bishop e2, and castle. You don't generally put a bishop in a fianchetto position in a Benoni type structure because the bishop would hit its own pawns and it's biting onto granite, as we say. So g3 castles and bishop g2. Is this a miss? Did I miss rook e8? Yeah. I'm just realizing this now. First time I'm looking over it. So this would be rook e8 check. Catching your opponent with their king in the center is always nice. Best engine move is king f1 here, which is kind of gnarly. Your rook is kind of trapped and your king is kind of passive and not that safe. But it's really the best option. On bishop e3, I think we just higher up the volume, higher up the pressure on this bishop with knight g4, and then like queen e2 concessions. And now I like this for black a lot, creating a really backward pawn here because it's backward from this pawn on d5, and now we would play something outrageous like b5, says the engine. So that's what would be on the menu if I would have played rook e8. But again, this is a bullet for both of us, so my opponent does some mistakes. It's a bullet game. We each have 1 minute, you know. a6, and now I do a common idea in the Benoni, sacking a pawn with b5. But this time, in this Benoni, let's just call it a Benoni, it's kind of weird because if you accept this pawn sacrifice, it is worse than usual in a typical Benoni. This is not a Benoni, once again. Okay, so if the knight takes, now we have bishop a6, and this is pinning the knight to the rook. So you can't just go back because I'm taking with more material, right? And you cannot do a4 either because this bishop is not developed, therefore the queen is not defending this rook, therefore this rook is not defended, therefore we can take this knight. And if you take back, exchanging, then I take the rook on a1 and I'm completely winning. So this knight is kind of, yeah, best engine move is literally knight c3, giving this for some compensation because the white pieces would have a pawn and a knight and a bishop for the rook. But they also say like queen b3, second best move. I would just higher up the pressure here, and then white would actually have to give in, giving the exchange just for taking this pawn. It is a technical poison pawn, you could say. So anyways, I play b5. They don't take because they were GM, so they wouldn't take, and then I use this to play b4. The reason why I'm closing in on the pressure and I don't even take this pawn, actually b4 is the best move in this position, is because I am opening up this knight by making it move, and I am complementing the diagonal of my long fianchetto bishop here by targeting all the squares it entails on this long diagonal. In other words, I'm making this bishop stronger by playing b4. Knight a4 was played. The engine doesn't like this knight move. It finds that the knight is quite out of play. I agree. This knight doesn't have knight b6, does not have knight c3. What is it doing? Now is when I play a really nice kind of bait. I bait my opponent. We call this a cheapo where I'm from in Montreal. You hear this all the time. If you're in a blitz session, a chess club, you hear cheapo, cheapo, cheapo. I used to be a cheapo man myself when I was in the youths, is when you do a move. This is a useful move. A cheapo is more like a useless move that threatens something if the opponent does something that's really bad, but it's kind of like a trap. But this is a useful move. It's a development move, and I'm pressuring this knight. Maybe queen e8 in the future, attacking this knight, right? Bishop takes d6. And I knew this. I knew this during the bullet. I did. Because we have a fantastic tactic here. Pause the video, see if you can solve this. I have bishop takes a4, discovery attack on this bishop, attacking this queen. Beautiful. And my opponent, I don't know if they saw that I'm attacking their queen, but took on f8, which is kind of ambitious when you think about it. Is like, oh, you just took my knight. I don't believe that what you played is good, so we're gonna take the rook. So I take this queen, and after bishop takes g7, now white realizes that what they played was a terrible, terrible mistake. Because here, there's such a thing in chess called compensation, is when you exchange a very high value piece like a queen, and you get some little crumbs. You get a rook, you get a bishop, you get 2 pawns, and then that's somehow equivalent, plus a good position, somehow equivalent to that queen, right? But here I deny my opponent compensation by playing bishop takes f3. And now I'm saving my bishop that's attacked here by taking a piece. So not only am I a queen up, now I took a piece. And if you take my knight to save your bishop on g7 and to attack my queen, I can take this bishop and defend my bishop. So you don't have compensation. In other words, after takes, I am up a full queen and knight for a rook. So like 12 points against 5, completely winning. And realizing this, my opponent played bishop h6, to which I just trade, and now I'm a queen and a knight for a rook up, like completely winning. Though it's really far from over here. I played knight d7, and I quickly realized that I don't have the e-file, which would be very helpful to convert this position. Instead, I have passive pieces that cannot find the light of day to get into the opponent's structure. Okay? But now, just want to make sure it's the right move, yeah. But now, I realize in this game, I have also more time here, I have 37 seconds. I realize in this game that white has one very big weakness remaining. See if you can spot it on the board. Really big weakness. So this bishop is kind of weak, but it's still doing its job. Like, it's still keeping my king in a back rank situation, but it is kind of weak, and we'll expand on that later. This king, though, is exposed on g2. Can't do anything, well, not can't do anything, it's just exposed. Exposed to one thing in particular, which is this diagonal. And so here I had the very kind idea to trap this bishop on h6 by creating a line towards this bishop on h6, and threatening knight takes d5, which threatens this bishop in discovery. In other words, if you play end just about anything, I take here, you take here, and then I take this bishop, and I win a pawn, and my position is more open. Can you play this? I think you can, maybe. Oh, wait. Was my plan not? No, this is still fine. We're still fine. We're attacking this bishop as well. And if you take here twice, then I'm up a knight, and if you take here 3 times, then I have c4. Imagine. This isn't even planned, but it is. Because now if you take here, I have b3 and I'm gonna queen, and if you take here, I have b3 and I'm gonna queen. GG's. And so my opponent panicked here and went right into my trap, which is bishop takes g5, responded to by the same move, knight takes d5. And now, if you take back this knight, I have queen takes d5, winning not one, but 2 pawns with check and winning back this bishop. And my king is free again, so no back ranks, and I can play and enliven my pieces a little bit more. So anyways, so I sack here, and then my opponent trades rooks. I don't know why they do that. Don't trade rooks like that. Don't do that. Why? Because when you're low on material, trading rooks makes the opponent's pieces, the surplus pieces that is, stronger. So now my queen gets some strength, my knight gains some strength. King g7, h4, and here I convert. Knight f6. My opponent plays bishop f4, and this is converting 101 in chess. If you want to convert, look at this tactic right here. I saw this and I was beautiful. Here, you could just move the queen. In fact, I have queen c6, which wins the rook here for free. But we're not talking about that right now. You could just move the queen, right? And have this slow, dull win. But that's not what you do here. Because we're in bullet. In bullet, you have to win and fast and accurately. And how you win accurately is by taking this rook here, sacking your queen, and winning all the rest of the mobile pieces that white has. Now white only has pawns, so it's very predictable play. And so from here on, b3, I played a3, just to sink a pawn here. Very nice endgame knowledge here. You can sack a piece here when your pawns are far enough, close enough to the promotion square and far enough from your 7th rank. So king e2, and now I do this nice fork, winning this pawn on b3, kind of getting the theme here. And now after knight c3, I'm taking up all these squares, and for sure I'm winning this a2 pawn, which means this pawn will gladly queen, and I have 13 seconds up here. My opponent, the GM, resigned. I need your help though. I need your help so badly. We don't know who this is. Out of aces, we don't know who this is. If you know who this is, or if you know somebody who knows who this is, please tell me, because I sent this out on Twitter and the tweet is doing well. Like, I think 150 likes, but still nobody knows. And it's a big mystery who these GMs are, and I just want to crack open that oyster and find out who this is. I hope you enjoyed this analysis. Have an amazing day. My name is Zach, I'm the Chess Nerd, and I've been doing content for 5 years. So grateful for all of you. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'm sending you a ton of love. Have an amazing day.